Every single day, we're out there buying stuff. Food, electronics, services. But honestly, how often do we actually stop to think about the invisible safety net that keeps us from getting completely scammed? Well, let's jump right into this explainer because today we are shining a massive spotlight on the real unsung heroes of the modern marketplace, consumer NGOs.
Let's kick things off by setting the stakes. Mahatma Gandhi laid down a pretty powerful baseline here. He basically said that as a consumer, you are the absolute king of the market. I mean, think about it. A business isn't doing you a favor by serving you. You're doing them a massive favor by giving them your hard-earned money. Theoretically, this whole economy, it's designed to give you maximum satisfaction.
But, and it's a big but, with rising cases of exploitation, artificial scarcity, and just straight-up cheating, we've got to ask a tough question. Who is actually standing guard to protect this so-called king, right? Because in today's seller-dominated market, the reality is way, way off from Gandhi's ideal. As scattered individual buyers, we are super vulnerable. I mean, price hikes, black marketing, misleading ads. It is a complex world out there, and quite frankly, it can be incredibly hard to know what you're actually buying.
And the reality of these market malpractices, it's genuinely shocking. Our source material details some frankly mind-blowing sensory tests for everyday items. Get this, if your milk is synthetic, synthetic milk, it might actually give you a soapy feeling if you rub a drop between your fingers. Or how about unscrupulous sellers mixing actual brick powder or sand into chili powder? You can test for that by feeling for a gritty residue. And maybe the most unsettling one, sugar being adulterated with urea. It will literally smell like ammonia when you rub a little on your palm. Absolutely wild, right? When the market is capable of this level of deception, you absolutely 100% need an organized defense.
So, to combat these wild deceptions, enter our unsung heroes, non-governmental organizations, or NGOs. These are strictly non-profit and non-political entities. They aren't trying to make a quick buck off of you, and they aren't pushing some partisan agenda. Their sole reason for existing, their whole shebang, is your welfare as a consumer. In a market that can honestly feel like a battlefield sometimes, these organizations act as your personal shield. They're in the trenches, working entirely for public well-being, sifting through mountains of data and constantly monitoring the landscape just to make sure businesses are actually playing by the rules.
So how exactly do they do it? Well, their strategy is super proactive. Step 1, they study market price trends to catch any unjustified price hikes or artificial scarcities. Step 2, they translate all that complex data into accessible reports so the public actually knows what's going on. And step 3, this is the big one. If they spot bad actors, they don't just sit back. They actively agitate. They make noise so these deceptive trader practices literally can't hide in the shadows.
But, they don't just stop at monitoring the markets from afar. They are deeply, deeply invested in spreading consumer literacy through active, on-the-ground education. Because information is power, right? And these organizations know that a highly educated consumer is absolutely the hardest target for a dishonest business to exploit. They literally take this education directly to the streets by setting up outdoor social awareness campaigns, hosting training programs right in the community, and pumping out journals and periodicals. They make sure you're fully equipped. They want to make sure you are deeply conscious of your legal rights. It's really all about transforming you from a passive buyer into an active, super-informed participant in the market.
Now, perhaps their most direct, tangible impact comes into play when someone has actually been cheated. In those moments, they step right in to provide free legal advice and balance out those powerful business interests. Let's be real for a second. Going up against a massive corporation as just one single individual, that is incredibly intimidating. These NGOs completely level the playing field.
Just picture this. A cheated buyer walks into an NGO office probably feeling pretty helpless. Right away, an expert welcomes them, offers completely free legal advice, and actively helps them draft a formal grievance. But they don't just stop at the paperwork. Oh no. Representatives from the NGO will take the fight directly to business heads at the chambers of commerce to demand better, fairer deals for everyone. They basically become your voice in rooms you wouldn't normally have access to. And when an issue affects the wider community, they escalate their tactics even further. Now, while they happily handle an individual grievance, resolving a single complaint about a defective product or a terrible service experience, they also have the legal muscle to protect millions of people at once. They can file public interest litigations, or PILs. This means initiating major legal action for the general public interest, like securing a total ban on a product that's injurious to public health. It's how they protect entire communities from widespread danger.
Now, if you're wondering who these allies are, the source material highlights that India actually has a celebrated and incredibly active network of these organizations. We're talking about groups like the Consumer Guidance Society of India, Voice, the Consumer Education and Research Center, CAI, the Mumbai Grahak Panchat, and Grahak Shakti. These aren't just random acronyms, guys. They are massive, organized bodies functioning to give you quick and adequate redressal. They're living proof that a strong consumer movement is actively working to back you up. And this entire movement, all this incredible work, culminates every single year on March 15th for World Consumer Rights Day. The rallying cry is simple but powerful. If it's not right, use your rights. You have undeniable rights to safety, to be heard, and to education. And more importantly, you have the organized, structured backing from these NGOs to enforce those rights whenever they're violated.
So, the absolute most crucial point to take away from this explainer today is this: you are not alone in the marketplace. Now that you know exactly who is fighting in your corner, what will you do the next time you're sold a false promise? Are you going to just ignore it, or will you reach out to these unsung heroes and demand the fairness you absolutely deserve? Stay informed, stay vigilant, and never, ever forget that as a consumer, you hold the true power.